Good morning, Service Alliance community. Hope you're all doing pretty good today. Hope you had a great 4th of July weekend. How you doing, Jason?
Good morning, Mike Carson. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
That's good.
Coming off my 4-day weekend,
Wow.
more
What
exhausted than I went into
a
it.
4-day weekend. I ended up working Friday, so it must have been nice to have that 4-day weekend. Of course, um, we did have a killer concert we went to Saturday night. Um, I got to see Cheap Trick, Journey, and Def Leppard in St. Louis.
No kidding. That's
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
it was a great concert. I have one of my good friends. He bought us tickets, and so I'm gonna go over there, probably do a little electrical work at his house in lieu of the tickets. But man, what a concert! I mean, Rick Nielsen and his 400 something guitars that he does with Cheap Trick. That's always just interesting to see. But this is the second time I've seen Journey, and the first time I've ever seen Def Leppard. So pretty cool concert, man. I'll tell you.
That would
So
be
that was
cool.
that and playing bass at church this weekend was the highlight of my weekend. Fireworks are cool, but I don't know, something about concerts and playing music that does it more for me.
Yeah.
Freedom, fireworks, and faith. There we go. Freedom,
There
fireworks,
you
and
go.
faith. Had to find that third F. Man, we got a lot of people already jumping on here. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's say hi to some people. We got Jeremy, great client of mine, one of the
Oh,
best. How
yes,
you doing, Jeremy?
he's
Got
got you saved.
Jerry. We got JoJo. All the
Jojo,
Joes, all the
Jojo.
people that start with J are
Yeah,
joining us.
yeah, true. Except for Doug and
Well, we
Adam.
got Adam. Got to break it up. And then
Gotta
there's
break it.
our good buddy Doug Shear.
Doug.
How you doing, Doug?
Yeah.
Glad to have you checking in on us.
This weekend it was kind of weird. I found this possum, mama possum, and her two babies in this suitcase out in our yard. And it just seemed really odd. So I called animal control, and the guy for animal control said, "Can you tell if they're moving?" And I said, "Well, I mean, honestly, I'm not sure, but it would kind of explain the suitcase, right?"
Okay.
Even Shada just went like,
Yeah.
"Come on, how's it going?"
I need like some kind of sound effect, that
But
I can play during these.
well, I can't do it here, but at least on the live, I can like click the little funny face.
Yeah, StreamYard needs to add that. If you're listening, StreamYard, get that added. We need some sound effects and some visuals.
It feels like you can do something on the back end. I don't know.
Yeah,
See, I don't get
I
to see
haven't.
what you see because I'm not logged in. So, not my best, Jeremy.
Not your best, Jason. Jeremy, we
Wow.
got a heckler out there.
Wow. Wow. I mean, it is dad jokes. Come on. Come on. Come on, people. All right. Maybe I'll try to look for something on that one. I don't know.
What are you gonna do? All right. With
Yeah,
that,
true. What are you going to
let's
do?
uh let's open in some prayer and go over a verse, and then let's get into this boosting employee performance topic that we're going to talk about.
Okay. Sounds good.
All
I
right.
like it. I like
You
it.
said you wanted me to pray today, right?
Go for it.
I need
Make
to pray. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this day. Thank you for everybody watching. Thank you for allowing us to come on here and share your word, share some experience, share some love. Go out and be with us today and allow us to bring you with us as we go about our day and all the people that we encounter, and be your light to them. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
All right. So the verse this week we've got is Colossians 3:23 and 24. It's the NIV version. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. Receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. So this verse, it really emphasized the importance of working diligently and with a purpose, right? Who can inspire, which it can inspire and motivate both leaders and employees in any setting. So that kind of leads us into boosting employee performance, which is our topic today. Uh, Buenos dias, so um, yes. So let's dive into it, shall we? I know we've got a lot of people
Yeah.
listening to hear about employee motivation.
I like that verse that you read because we've got to remind ourselves that we are serving a higher power,
Yeah,
not ourselves.
very true.
All right. Boosting employee performance, motivational tactics and incentive programs. Let's get this figured out. Let's talk about some things. This is always a tough subject, I think, trying to motivate employees, trying
Yeah,
to motivate yourself. I find it harder to motivate myself than it is for me to motivate others.
yeah.
So,
Motivation is it can be unmotivating to be motivated sometimes.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you've
So
got some
there's
interesting conversation pieces on here. That's for sure.
yeah,
So I like this. Our first one we're talking about is key concepts of motivation is intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Now I had to like take a double take when reading this because I'm like, man, that's some big words for a an electrician. Oh, that's what somebody else said. But intrinsic motivation that comes from within the individual, such as personal growth, job satisfaction, and the enjoyment of the work itself. The extrinsic is motivation driven by external forces like money and praise and recognition. So let's talk about these two different ones and why understanding the difference is crucial for effective motivation. Um, how do you motivate? How are you motivated yourself, Mike? I mean, are you a money guy? Are you a praise guy, recognition guy? Like, what motivates you?
I'm more of a praise and recognition guy.
Hmm.
I've always said money is a byproduct of what you do. So
Hmm,
that
that's good.
I learned a long time ago. Money used to be a motivation of mine when I
Yeah,
was early and young in my different careers, and I I just started making a shift. I'm like, it's not about the money. It's about the quality of work you do. It's about, who you're serving,
yeah,
what having a reason to actually do it. Money was just such a surface, selfish thing
yeah.
that I learned the money's going to be there if you just, no matter if you change the purpose or not, the money's just going to be there.
Yeah.
So why not just shift and start having more of a purpose and being happy?
Yeah.
I remember sitting in my garage one day. I was working on a car, and this is back when I was restoring a lot of cars, and I was just like thinking to myself, why do I even exist?
Mhm.
And like, what's my purpose here? Why do I exist? And I just started thinking I need to refocus myself and not worry
Yeah.
about the money I'm making and start worrying about serving others and
Mhm.
using talents that I have and experience that I have to actually help people.
Servant's heart.
Whether it was restoring their car or not, I was making them happy by doing a good job on their car
Yeah.
and using my talent. So it was yeah, Doug brings up a great point just now. Um I'm not sure money can produce joy. That truer words have never been spoken. That's
Mhm.
that's exactly what I found out. Money
Yeah.
can't produce joy. I think it can provide pleasure and false sense of security. It definitely can make things easier,
Yeah.
I mean, and money's a tool, but it shouldn't be your motivation.
Yeah.
So,
I
how
will
about
say
you?
I am I agree. I was like you early on in my life, more money motivated. I still say I'm a bit money motivated, but not nearly as much. I definitely am praise and recognition, right? That's what motivates me more. Like playing bass at church when Corley, our backline director, he comes up and, says, man, that sounded great today. Or, I'm playing with Christian, one of the drummers there, and he comes up and he's, man, it's just such great to play with you. Those things motivate me. At work, whenever, the wife comes up and says, man, that marketing piece you put up was so funny, or that was so good, or I really like that video. That's what motivates me more to want to do that even more. I did a photo shoot with Shayna yesterday for some fun stuff coming up. And, I posted it out there and I think you posted, man, it's going to make some fun memes. Yes, it
Oh
will.
yeah.
you know, that I enjoy what I do now. Right. And I found a pocket in my life where I'm actually, for once, enjoying work. I had gotten to that point with electrical where I was enjoying work a little bit as well, again, after a few years. But it was always about the praise and recognition more than the money, being able to go into somebody's house, make it safer, make it more comfortable, and having that person appreciate that, man, that was more enjoyable to me than the money.
Yeah.
I will say that in life, the money has always been there, like you said. We've been very fortunate that, you know, we've never went without. Our mortgage has always been paid, our car payments have always been paid. We have never we may have missed a payment once or twice in our life, but we have never went without, and that's a huge testament to God and what He's done in our lives. So, um, yeah, when it comes to your employees, your team members, find out what motivates them. Are they money motivated or are they praise and recognition motivated? You could easily, you do a survey, whenever they first come aboard, just have that conversation with it. What motivates you? You know, find out what motivates them and utilize that um, to the advantage.
And
Um,
it may not be either. I mean, there's some people that actually just want time. They want time
Time.
off. You know,
Oh, that's another good one. Yeah.
time is a good one,
Yeah.
for some people because they
I
want
mean,
more time with their family. They want
why
they
do
want
you and me have a
shifted work
camper?
hours.
Why do you and
What's
me
that?
have campers? I said, why do you and
Yeah,
me have campers, right?
absolutely.
Because we want that time away. That's funny. Yeah.
Sometimes I mean, some people just need extra time,
Yeah.
to unwind or whatever. They're I mean, let's face it, sometimes we have stressful jobs and we could have stressful periods in our job,
Yeah.
even though we love it. But with what we do, there are periods of stress in any job at different levels. So
Why do
sometimes you
people,
need some time off to
yeah.
recover from that.
Why do people play golf? Why do they have motorcycles? Why do they, go
Exactly.
camping or kayaking? It's because it's a motivator for a little bit of freedom and a little bit of stress relief, right? So maybe some people
Another
just want to go read a book in a corner of a basement or something. I don't know.
right.
Shayna.
So getting into some more motivational things, it may not be money, it may not be time, it may not be any of the things we've talked about. It may be they want to grow.
Mm,
Growth is a motivational factor. So if you look and learn somebody's personal goals and recognize what they want, then you can you can provide them a path
yeah.
to actually achieve personal growth. Whether it's through training, a lot of people just thrive on learning. They
Hmm.
just thrive on it. And that's one of the things I do. I love to learn. I love learning new things. I love testing things and experimenting and figuring out what works and what doesn't, so that I'm not wasting my time on the
Yeah.
things that don't work and that aren't fruitful for my business or for my clients.
Yeah.
So um I've actually got some employees that are just like this. They really want to learn.
Yeah.
They like the money, they like the time off, and they like their jobs, but they really want to learn.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I carve out for certain employees, I carve out a little extra learning time for them,
Yeah.
so that we can kind of I can grow and groom them, sometimes without them realizing that's what I'm doing,
Yeah.
but they seem more fulfilled and they
Yeah.
seem more productive by
Hmm.
doing that.
That's good. Feedback, is always good whenever you're doing this. Make sure you're getting feedback on a regular basis. Like specific praise on employee morale and performance. You know, we've talked about this before. How we have one-on-ones where we bring the team in individually and just have a talk with them. Hey, how you doing? What's going on in your life? You know, having that time. Some people are just like, "Yep, doing good." Others are just they're going to tell you their entire life. And that's just the different personalities that you get to work with, when you're building a team. So get that regular feedback. Um, if you're giving out gift cards or, whatever it will be, we're going to talk a little bit about incentives here in a little bit, but make sure you're getting that feedback if it's actually worth it. Cause some people don't like that kind of stuff, right? Some people want it, some people don't. So, yeah.
So how do you create a positive work environment that builds a culture around this?
Yeah. Mm. That's a fun one.
It's a hard
Feedback,
one.
it is a hard one. And if you got some comments about this, please post them. Um, oh yeah, yeah. I was just reading Saul's.
Yeah.
Uh, Saul is a little bit money motivated, and the other, he gives to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and what belongs to God belongs to God. It's true. Um, you know, yeah, that's a whole nother conversation we can get into on
Let's not.
religion and politics. We have probably not. Oh, anyway, yeah. Creating that positive work environment. Let me make sure we're not going to hit up a little bit later, but um, your work environment. We talked culture a little bit last week as well. Culture is important. It's very important. And if you have a team member who is not, um, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Is not depositing, I guess, to that positive work environment. Sometimes you've got to remove that team member either from that situation, that place, or let them go. And that's the unfortunate part about being a business owner. We have to make those hard decisions sometimes. So, but yeah, there's all kinds of
Sometimes the
different
employees
ways.
make it easy for that decision to be made.
Truth.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of ways that you can, I guess, see it coming.
Yeah.
Taking a lot of time off, their attitude, things like that. So,
Yeah.
um,
But that
you can talk
positive,
to them until you're blue in the face, and
yeah.
then they're just toxic, and they're
Yeah.
toxic to themselves, and they've already checked out. So,
Yeah. The positive work environment, though, I mean, it could be as simple as having a clean van. If you got technicians out there who love clean van and they take care of your work truck, and praise them for that, or give them an extra, gift card to their favorite restaurant for taking care of that. I used to have um, contests on who would keep their van clean the longest, and at the end of the month, if they met all the requirements, and it was just a simple paper that I had, hey, here's what you got to do each week: clean your van, check the oils, check the fluids, stuff like that. Turn this paper in. I mean, once a week, I'll do an inspection. As long as we're good to go at the end of the month, whoever's got the best report gets an extra gift card to a restaurant. So something as
there
simple
you
as
go.
that, right? To help, because if they're in a clean van, again, got to see if it motivates them or not. Some
Yep.
guys don't care about having a clean van, but you as a homeowner or as a technician, I had a lot of homeowners that would come out to my truck. Man, I heard about this warehouse on wheels, this, and they wanted to come see my truck. And I'm like, yes, sir, come check this out, right? And I'd roll open the door and like, look at this thing, isn't this miraculous? It's awesome. I love working out of this truck because I was motivated by a clean, organized truck. I spent, gosh, probably 9 hours last week cleaning out my garage, And after we closed down the electrical business, I had tools here, tools there, tools everywhere, warehouse, up garage. I put them all in one spot now. And the first thing I did when I got done, I took a picture of that wall. And it's like, "Ah, yes,
Ah.
yes, I can work in here now,
You
right?"
could hear the
I,
angels singing.
the first thing I did as I took apart my motorcycle, changed all the fluids, plugs, and filters, put it back together, and went, "Ah, yes." 'Cause that's a motivator for me, right?
Right.
Organization. Sometimes it works. Like right now, my desk is a little unorganized, but yeah, creating a positive work environment. It could be a truck, it could be your desk, it could be the culture, right? It could be a friendly smile just walking through. I've got a bag of Jolly Ranchers in here, and every once in a while, I'll walk through the office and I'll give everybody a Jolly Rancher or a fist bump, right? It's those little things that can add up, right? So anyway, hey, let's talk about incentive programs. We started touching on that, but what's Doug say here?
Doug saying one-to-one meeting to praise and show authentic appreciation that an employee treated your company like it was their own.
Yeah,
Boy, wouldn't that be nice if they all did that all the
right.
time.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine
I
how much of a powerhouse company you could be. That's hard to find.
Yeah. Well, those and be sure to praise them. If you got a technician that goes out, good example is, well, I can tell stories all day long about the business. I love talking about previous business stuff. But if you got a team member that gets some praise, gets you a great Google review, and their name is mentioned, man, go the extra mile to point that out to them. Hey, uh,
Hmm.
Doug, check this out. You got a really cool Google review from Mr. Customer here. Man, that deserves like an extra $10 here. I think this is great for you. And good job on getting them to put your name in it. That's always a bonus, right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
let's get into some incentive programs here.
Yeah.
So there's monetary versus non-monetary.
Hmm.
Um, when do you use monetary versus non-monetary incentives? I think honestly, EJ and I had recently interviewed Tommy Mello from A1 Garage Door,
Yep.
and the home service millionaire guy,
Yep.
and we talked a little bit about this, and that podcast should come out tomorrow. But a lot of what we talked about, Tommy said he hates, you know, calling things certain monetary um or bonuses, things like that. He didn't like calling he's like performance pay. He was all about performance pay.
Yeah.
He's like commission, hourly, he's as hourly as shit. I think, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And he said he's all about performance pay. And I
Yeah.
have to agree. I mean, hourly or salaried employees are more predictable,
Hmm.
but performance pay, I'd rather have that non-predictable performance pay,
Yeah.
because if they're performing and I've got to pay out on that, I have to agree. It's nothing but good for the
Hmm.
company and the employee. That when an employee gets a big fat check for a bonus and based on their performance being good, and they've went out and they've actually upsold things, um I think that's gonna be a good motivator for them.
Yeah. To play the devil's advocate in that, you got to have a lot of checks and balances, or
You
else you start
definitely do.
getting that reputation of, oh, these guys are just here to sell me crap, right? So there's got to be a lot of checks and balances. And when I teach it, teach it becoming that honest service expert, not just a salesman, right?
Right.
Because no homeowner likes a salesman. I'm sorry. No homeowner likes a salesman, but they love honest service experts. So teach your technicians to become honest service experts, not salesmen. And if you're basing it on performance pay, make sure those checks and balances are in place.
And I think a lot of that is, I mean, you could upsell without upselling,
Sure.
seeming like you're upselling, right?
Yeah.
You A lot of customers don't realize what they might need. they
Yeah.
don't realize what exists out there.
Yeah.
Like, um here, here's a perfect example. I got a flood buzz right here. And I mean, this is something that you could upsell, and a customer may not even know that they exist.
Yeah.
When they've got a flooding, you know, hot water tank or a dishwasher, things like that.
Yep.
This could be an easy upsell,
Yeah.
but it's something the customer doesn't even know that they could need, and it's cheap.
Yep.
So there's different things and ways that you can do things as far as upselling, just by educating the customer on
Yeah.
what's available out there.
Yeah. So for us, we call it our next level club with our business. And to be eligible with the next level club, you got to have six months continuous service with our company to even be eligible. You got to meet a 90% or greater KPI for both booking and logging rates for the preceding 30 days. And there's some other things that go along with that, but if they do that, they meet all kinds of eligibility requirements for extra time off, for extra pay, incentives. There's so much there for a CSR. For technicians, man, you've got the world is your oyster when it comes to incentive based type of programs for technicians. You can do it as as a whole with the total invoice. You can do it as extra bonus things for certain items, panel change outs or, the flood buzz that he was talking about. There's all kinds of things that you can do out there. So, um, creating that balanced incentive program that includes both monetary and non-monetary, I personally like. Um, Again, that's me. I mean, there's all kinds of them out there that you can go on it. I think the biggest thing is again finding out what motivates your team, right? And then starting from there. If you have nothing in place at all, and you've got a ton of people in the alliance group, the service alliance group that can help you out with getting things started. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about let's skip down to some practical tips for daily motivation.
Daily motivation. I need this myself.
Yeah. So you can have daily and weekly goals, short-term targets, breaking down larger goals into manageable daily or weekly tasks, and the impact of the short-term goals on long-term productivity.
Well, let's start with the one man truck. How many people out here are just a one man truck doing this? And how do you motivate yourself? Right? What's your first of your day look like? What are you doing? Are you getting up? Are you working out? Are you reading the Bible? Are you doing a little bit of motivational stuff first thing in the morning to get your day going? I mean, what motivates you as a owner operator to do things every day? Right? Maybe you need to set something in place that, hey, if I accomplish this today, I will do this. Maybe you're a cigar and bourbon guy. Hey, if I make, 3 calls today and each of them are X amount, or I get a Google review from each one of them or something like that, that's my goal for today. If I do that, at the end of the day, I'm going to enjoy a nice cigar and a glass of bourbon. I mean, you got to make it what motivates you as that individual. Maybe you're married. Hey, if I achieve this today, at the end of the day, I am going to take my wife out. Or I don't know what motivates you. That's the kicker. You got to find out as an owner operator. Um,
I mean, Google reviews are
mhm,
a huge, I mean, they're nothing but helpful for you online, right?
yeah,
And when you get a good review come in and you see that and you're like, "Oh yeah, that was great." Or,
that's a good call.
"Man, I thought this customer was a real jerk and he just left me a really nice review." Like, man, I was not expecting that. I
Shocker,
mean, how
right?
good does that make you feel?
Yeah,
Right? So getting those 5-star reviews could be motivation in itself.
yep,
And you get one or two of those a day.
yeah,
Imagine what that's going to do for you.
yep,
And for your, I guess, not just your ego, but your just self motivation,
yep,
to continue doing that. So, I mean, think of reviews that way,
Yep.
you know?
Same thing goes with if you have a team. Maybe you're not just by yourself. Maybe you get 2 or 3 guys or 6 guys, and gals that's working. What does that motivation then look like as you grow your business, right? Morning huddles were always great. We would do I got to a point where I was doing, we call them 747s. 7:47 in the morning, we'd meet at the shop, we'd have a little conversation. Here's what the day looks like. Hey, if you guys do this, let's get together for lunch tomorrow on me or whatever. Um, quick positive team meeting. You could maybe make a little bit of a motivational conversation. You could do a stupid dad joke, whatever it may be, but allocate just maybe 10 minutes just to check in with your team every morning. Um, as your team grows, and maybe they don't come to the shop every day, make it at least once or twice a week that you're getting together, be it for lunch, be it for first thing in the morning. Tuesday morning trainings, I found always work the best. Tuesday morning, because Monday, everybody's in a rush. All they're thinking about is, I'm going to get these jobs. You go Thursday, Friday morning trainings. By the time the weekend comes, they've forgotten what they've been taught. Right. So for me, Tuesday mornings, Wednesday morning at the latest for team training and development stuff. Right. So, yeah,
Yeah, that's definitely a good point.
yeah,
I mean, training, like I said earlier, it's a huge thing for a lot of employees.
yeah,
If someone's stagnant and not growing, they're going to grow out of your business.
yeah.
And I've always said, one of the things I've always taught to, big corporations, even when I was doing, a lot of a business development training, train your people to leave you. Train them so much while you have them that they have nowhere else to go but out
Hmm.
of your organization, because they're going to be the best employee while you have them.
Hmm.
And chances are you're going to have them a very long time,
Yeah,
because no one else is going to give them that type of an opportunity. And that's a very fulfilling thing that you can do for an employee.
yeah.
So make it hard for them to leave you, when they start comparing others to you.
Another good way that I found that worked out well was kind of like gamifying um, things. So, like making points or um, just being able to, like, putting up a call board. Like, we have a call board. We're in the process of changing companies, so we're redoing our call board. But you could do it with your technicians. You have a board up. Maybe it's a magic marker. That's fine. Whatever it is, but track their KPIs through the week. And whoever's the top, right? Put them in the green. Everybody else is in the red. If they're not meeting their KPIs, the standards of, closing percentage, average tickets, things like that, you know, if they see each other's, numbers, maybe that will motivate them. It doesn't everybody, but it could motivate some of those team members to do a little bit better job for their customer on the next call, right? So that's another way, is to kind of gamify it a little bit.
All right, just to wrap everything up, you got to track this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're rewarding employees, you need to track every single time you reward them.
Yep.
Because if 3 months goes by and an employee hasn't been rewarded, that's a red flag.
Yep.
Every single employee should be rewarded in some way, but you need to track what you're rewarding them with, so that at least
Yeah.
because if you're only tracking money but yet you're giving them time or some other incentive, lunches or whatever, then you need to track all of it,
Mhm.
because that way you can say, hey, I've been rewarding them all along, and maybe I shouldn't have, or
Yeah.
maybe they deserve more reward. Maybe I've rewarded them too little for the
Yeah.
output that they're doing. So I think tracking if you're going to track their throughput and their output, you gotta track what you're rewarding them with too, and
Yeah.
that's got to go into part of your KPIs.
Yeah. Totally agree. It comes back to it could be one of those things that if you're not tracking it, maybe it comes up in a discussion of, well, hey, I haven't gotten this or I didn't get this. And you have easy ways to show them, well, yeah, actually, on this date, you did this, so I was able to give you this. Or I yeah, I know in Illinois, it's a little bit tricky on that whole performance-based pay. You still have to show Illinois that you're paying them on an hourly basis. So look at your laws in your state and make sure that you're adhering to whatever type of bonuses that you've got to from a tax man perspective for sure, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So I mean that brings up a good point because you got to give everybody a review occasionally, right?
yeah,
So that would be a good part of that review to go over and adjust as necessary. Um, and obviously that could affect the feedback that they give you.
yeah,
If an employee's forgetting about all this or it just becomes routine and they just think it's part of it and they don't appreciate it, then that's the time during that review and that feed to collect that feedback and identify some of the things about where that employee, where's their mindset and their head at. So
yeah. Very true.
that could definitely, and obviously you need to take that time and celebrate successes,
Yep.
celebrate achievements, recognize it, publicly recognize it. Tell the rest of the team if it's one or two of you and that's all there is, who cares? Just
Yeah.
recognize it. let
Yep.
let them know that you recognize them for what they do. I think that's
100%.
great.
I uh I want to take the time to recognize Heather. Heather has been with us 5 years this week. Uh we had uh we have another team member, Ashley C. Many of you know her. She's been with us 3 years. Hey, publicly recognizing them because they are rock stars in our team. So yeah, Heather took a little bit of a extended vacation, went and seen some friends over the weekend, and she's back here today. And that's another cool thing, right? We have cards that we pass around. So for birthdays and anniversaries, um, I pass around cards. We get autographs from everybody. They make a little note, and I give it to them. So all kinds of recognition that you could do. This has been a good topic. I really like
Yeah.
this. I've enjoyed this. Hopefully, you all have enjoyed this too. If you have, please pay the fee. Simply put, by paying the fee, that just means like, share, subscribe, follow ITD Web Designs, My Office Help, and Service Alliance Group. And Mike, there's something coming up here. I see you got on July 20th. It's the next
July
mastermind.
20th is our
Yeah,
business planning mastermind for our all access level members. So if you're not an all access member, get in there and we'll have the registration up this week for that.
100%. Well, it's been a good topic. Look forward to seeing you all next week. And same with you, Mike. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Absolutely. Have a great week, everybody, and go out there and stay motivated.
Awkward